Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight. Howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Saturday. It's the weekend. I ended up running way long on this podcast with the Wilsons out of Oregon. You remember Matt Wilson. His wife Rachel joined us on this one, and we talked for a long time, and kind of looked down and realized, oh shit, it's late. So I didn't get this intro recorded last night, but anyhow, and we got to talking, and it was just a good conversation, and I realized we were already like 5 or 6 minutes into some good content before I even started recording, so we didn't get any intro, nothing. We just had good talk. So anyways, I think you're going to like this one. It's a long one. This is like Joe Rogan style long one. But I think you're going to like it. So before we get into it, I got to tell you about my sponsor. You know all that. Loma Livestock. Owned and operated there in Loma, Colorado by my good buddy George Raftopoulos. Got a sale going every Wednesday with cows and singles starting at 9 o'clock with the feeders at 11. They are NHTC certified, and if you'd like to consign with them today, give them a holler at 970-858-9988, or you can visit them online at lomalivestock.com. So if you're there on western slope of Colorado, eastern Utah, southwest Wyoming, that general area, and you're looking for some good cattle, or you're looking to sell your cattle, give them a holler, and they'll treat you right. Tell them you heard about it on the Burning Daylight podcast. So anyway, thanks to Loma Livestock, and here is my conversation with the Wilsons, also known as the Wampus Cat Band, and kind of my new favorite power couple on the internet. They are awesome, and I really enjoyed this conversation, so hope you will too. Let's get into it.
Something else, and your hobby has to be for sale, or you have to be doing something that's very media based to support anything like that. So I mean, it's actually really cool that you've been able to launch that. I didn't realize that the memes were your own creation. I do get a kick out of them.
Well, a lot of them I just find on different pages, and so I share them, and I'll usually just add a caption to it, but I make a few of mine, and I kind of like, I went down just a wormhole of where do all these memes come from, because they're everywhere, and it's just a bunch of just bored nerds like myself that that they'll just screenshot a movie or a TV show and get like the little action shot, and then just add their own quote to it, and it's such a funny way to communicate. It's weird, but like it's funny. Like, you just be scrolling through, or if your friend sends you something, you just it just kind of gives you the little snort laugh real quick, and I don't know why it's so genius, but it is. But like, everybody loves them, and that, man, you can reach a lot of people that way.
Well, people like to laugh. That's one thing. And Lord knows we all have plenty of misery to deal with. So when you get that just little minute to take a break and release some endorphins and go, like you said, the snort laugh.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. We all need it. It's good.
Yeah. I really enjoy that. That's been one of the coolest things that I've found since I started this thing, is just like how many people are drawn to just a funny meme, and then you can get like comments going back and forth. If you get one that's either a little bit too edgy, or or just really funny, you'll get somebody comment, and somebody will get pissed off, and then there's like an argument in the comments section. And I'm a troll at heart. Like, I love to get people going just for the fun of it. And
Well,
and so I just like I'll comment something and just watch the comments roll in, and it's hilarious.
I fall for some of them. I can't help it. I got to comment. Then there's others that are like too hot to touch. Not even sure I should click like on this one. But, ooh, that's a hot one.
Yeah,
There's some of them like, woo.
I told my my cousin, I was like, I don't know, because like we're all pretty well free speech absolutists. There's a lot of stuff that's said that just really pisses me off, but I think it has to be, somebody ought to be able to say what they want to say, and if it's a bad idea, somebody else will tell you you're full of shit and it's a bad idea, and then you find out real quick. And so I don't know. We were talking about like what can't we post on here, and I was like, well, obviously no nudity, no like racist stuff. I always say racial jokes are funny. I said no racist. I was like, and then there's obviously a line there, and it's if you're giving somebody shit, just guy talk. It's whatever, but don't once you cross the line, we don't want that. And I said,
right. Yeah, you don't need to be.
Rach and I were just kind of talking about that kind of stuff, and the other day, and talking with you here, I was thinking about Blazing Saddles. I mean,
man, they couldn't get away with that today.
They weren't afraid to laugh at each other, and really just say what our differences were and laugh at each other, and not butthurt about it. But then, if you really do start discriminating against somebody or treating them like crap because they're a color, that's garbage. Because you got to take everybody as they are.
That color being white as well.
Yeah.
It's funny because Matt and I, we both have Native American Blackfoot bloodlines. Scott, Irish, Welsh, Bohemian, he's German. But we're just a melting pot,
Yeah.
And some of my greatest friends that I've ever had, like diehard friends, have been folks of different race other than Caucasian. And I think my greatest sadness is like I'm totally into puppets, not weird, but in probably the weirdest. It's weird. I freaking love puppets. I hate mannequins. Mannequins suck.
Mannequins are creepy.
This is like a Geraldo episode.
No, but Sesame Street did a hell of a job in the 80s, making the racial boundaries just fall. Just like everybody loved, good old accept each other. And what's so cool is our cultures are different. That is cool. Don't need to be exactly like each other. And my big thing is if you study Rome or Western civilization, they destroyed everyone's culture, did not matter what, and they accepted them into their society and made them all abide by that. And so when people say, oh, well, this particular race was oppressed, that particular race in America was, oppressed. Hey, just open a history book, man. Every freaking race on the planet has been oppressed, put into slavery, hated. So, we actually are all brothers. We all just need to get back to take out our freaking poppins. Good.
No puppets.
Puppets, but in a good way.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the Muppets now? Because I can get down on some Muppets.
Yeah.
Animal is the freaking best.
Yeah.
Gonzo.
Swedish Chef is my favorite of all time. I had a buddy in high school and college would mumble like that, and we started calling him the Swedish Chef. He was a ginger kid, like freckles and everything, and
from the Midwest.
He was kind of weird, talking like this, and you could never understand what he was saying, and so then we went a floopy 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 floopin.
And only one gloved hand at a time, maybe.
Yeah, and then he's always fighting the damn chicken.
Yeah, I want to eat Gonzo's chicken. Yeah, that Gonzo.
Oh, Muppets. I
am Miss Piggy. There's like no way around it. As much as I hate her, I'm totally into Asian films and karate. I have to impress my man. That's just part of it. Mm-hmm. Everybody better treat me like a freaking princess.
I know. Not into being any Kermit.
And I can ride. Well, I'm not good at riding motorcycles. I often slide them under fences, but I put on the suit. I'll wear the suit. I'll challenge a jailbreak. I'll do that for my man. Break you out of jail, babe.
That's Hell cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
I'll get launched out of explosive devices.
One of these days, I will find somebody to animate me a little cartoon of the Bonnie and Clyde Muppet version, but you two will be will be Bonnie and Clyde.
Woo!
I'll see if I can't get that made.
Yeah, we'll have to do it.
That's funny because like for some reason people always associate us with Bonnie and Clyde. We did a whole photo shoot as Bonnie and Clyde.
Nice.
Pretty good. Your pants were a little tight, but
yeah, they were. Kind of bragging on there.
we make realistic, healthy marriage jokes because let's face it, every marriage sucks to some extent, so you have to love each other.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Marital sexuality is good. It's a good thing. You don't need like 5,000 partners to be happy.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's good to love the person you married. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. And if he gets too rowdy, I'll just sew him to the bed, and when he has to get up and take a leak in the middle of the night, I'll laugh at the fact that he can't get up and take a leak in the middle of the night.
Excessively Anyways.
So where'd you guys originate from? You always from Oregon?
Yeah, I'm born and bred Oregonian.
Yeah, my family come from California, but grew up in Central Oregon. So
okay.
Grew up in Bend and Redmond. Went to high school in Redmond. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then just kind of moved out around to the desert and drifted down this way.
He broke my parents' mailbox.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
I used to throw rocks at his car.
Yeah.
Is at him.
Man, that mailbox.
I was 8. He was 16.
Nice.
Crazy. It didn't make sense. Doesn't make sense now at all. Still doesn't. Yeah, it's been a while for sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
I've been pretty lucky. I haven't gotten in trouble.
Oh, you've gotten in plenty of trouble. You just haven't been caught. There's a difference.
No, I think we should move on now. Plead the
fifth. Keep it moving. Were your families involved cowboying and ranching, or how did you fall into it?
My family was like on the second ship to the Mayflower, so they've been in America forever. Mm-hmm. And so somewhere back, they were always in agriculture and music. And so my great grandfather was like some big cattle baron in Iowa, and he used to put cattle on the trains to feed the starving out west. But as time went on, my family moved out to Oregon, and they went into dairy farming.
Okay.
And then we had a family farm, wheat and grass seed. And that finally kind of petered out, and then we just moved to Central Oregon, where we just kind of did 4-H and stuff like that. I really wanted to barrel race, and I had horses ever since I was little. I had a pony and this and that, but I had just gotten so far away from my roots at that point that I just focused on music and acting and things like that. And when I was working for a bank, so when Matt walked in, I was like, hubba, hubba, hubba. The shiny spur, his hogleg. So, and so then I didn't know he was the guy that I despised so much as a child. So I hooked
we've
him.
kept that flame going. My family crawled from the primordial ooze out of the swamp. My family comes from down in California, and
but they were from back east too, way back.
Yeah,
we did some family history stuff.
Yeah, they came across.
They were in the Civil War and all that stuff. So his family goes way back too.
Oh, okay.
My dad's just been a cowboy junkie, and growing up around Redmond and Bend, there was only certain groups of folks to hang out with, and I liked cowboy and stuff, so I just started hanging out with the cowboy kids and kind of just evolved into that and learned and just went out and did it.
You met Rosebrooks too. Your folks hooked you up with
well, I was going to school with them and stuff, and then just started hanging out with them and just learned to rope and ride better, and just started doing it and hired on outfits and just ended up down here in Lake County. So just kind of went after it. My dad still watches Bonanza half the day, I think.
He was a team roping fool. I mean, he did some rodeo stuff. He was a handy roper. He come and day worked on as the exhibit.
Yeah, Redmond was it just was a cowboy town, and so fun things to do. We'd go team roping all the time. So my family team roped a lot.
Right on.
Did a lot of other things, but yeah, just kind of it's what I wanted to do, and just kind of I'm kind of the black sheep of the family. So they're all very rural and ranchy and that stuff. But
yeah, his folks raised some longhorns and had a roping arena. So when we'd have like family get-togethers and stuff, every Thanksgiving we'd
drink and rope.
We drink and rope.
Hey, that's my style.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
that's my two favorite things to do, pretty much. Yeah. 2 of them.
When I first walked,
2 others, but
my favorite thing to do. When I first walked into his mom's house, it smelled like my grandma's house, and she just had like homemade bread and just very folky. She still quilts to this day, and there was just so much family there. It just felt so warm and wonderful that I was like, oh yeah, this is the place for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's it's funny how you can just feel that, like when you walk into a place, like there's certain family, like every time I go home, obviously I've got a big family, and you know, like we're kind of a rowdy bunch ourselves, and but you know, it's like somebody's probably going to argue with the one another at the end of the night, but there's going to be a lot of laughs and just obscene amount of alcohol drank, but it's it's always a good time. But you know, it's just, I can always remember growing up, you know, if I mean, my dad brought this I'd say he was a hitchhiker, but he wasn't really a hitchhiker. He was riding his bike across the country we never really did establish for what reason, but he looked like a short, fat Forrest Gump. You know, like put like 30 years on Forrest Gump, and I'll knock off about 6 inches and add a belly, and that's what this guy looked like. You know, had a great big long scraggly beard, and he
so
just
yeah, he was riding his hog.
Yeah, but he was on Southeast Colorado dirt roads, like Baca County dirt roads, riding his bike, and I was like, yo, it's hard enough to keep a pickup tire aired up on these things. I can't imagine how long a bicycle's gonna last. And I think that was what the case. I think that's why my dad picked him up, is he had a flat on his bicycle, and yeah, and it just, but like everybody was always welcome at our place, you know. And I've always kind of tried to keep that, you know, and then sometimes I might get in trouble for like, who's that? I don't really know, but you know, your house is always home. So it's kind of how we grew up, and you know, I guess if somebody wanted to get real squirrely, we're also pretty well armed, so it's not. It was never that big of a concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Matt and I've always had those same kind of feelings, especially at the holidays, that we're so blessed to have the family time and all of that, that if we know someone that's not engaging in a holiday that could really use some place to be, you know, we've drug home all kinds of people.
Oh yeah.
That's very cool. I respect. That's awesome. I'm glad you do that.
Kind of like a circus. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. That's the only type of households I know is where it's just like you can hear just that at all times in the background. Like you never know exactly what's going on. There's just like shit going on all the time, and I can't keep track of all of it, but I just try to sit back and follow it as best as I can, I guess.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it used to be very chaotic around here.
We had all 5 girls at home. I'm still like scrubbing food off of the walls from all the food fights and rat fights, and oh my gosh, it was nuts. Yeah. We popped in that Brave movie. Disney's Brave, and I sat there and I was like, has someone had cameras in our home? I can't tell you the dinners we were sitting there just enjoying our food, and the next thing you know, there's like a cat or a dog just launching through the air, grabbing something off the table and then taking a run for it. Just grab the whole burrito and run.
Birthday cake one year to the dogs.
It had toys in it. I had put the toys, I baked the cake, put the toys in the cake, and the dog ate the cake and the toys.
That one hit a little too close to home. Be the one where he's gonna shoot his eye out with the BB gun.
Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Parallels.
We just don't have the Lady Lake, not yet.
I know.
Matt did all a couple years ago, but
yeah. Thrift store.
It's awesome. Thrift stores are the best. I like going through those. Just see what kind of weird shit you can come across.
Yeah. We have a game, and we'll be like, before we go in the thrift store, we're like, okay, what are we looking for? And so it's a challenge, and to see who's gonna find the best first.
I find some pretty good shit in there.
I won the kilt challenge.
Oh.
It was a woman able to get him to wear it yet.
On the craziest suit I can find, and I haven't found a good one yet.
No.
Something
leisure.
Yeah.
A leisure suit.
Something plaid.
Oh, so
it's got to be.
I got a bunch of college buddies that our freshman year. So it was my roommate and the 2 guys in the room next to me that we shared a bathroom, and then one of my high school buddies, or a kid I grew up with. We all, I don't remember whose idea it was, but we went to the mall and we just dressed up, but we didn't really have a theme. We just found some goofy outfits. So I had like it was like a corduroy suit jacket from the 50s and a Hawaiian shirt and a leather cowboy hat I stole from the prop room of my high school. And then like everybody was dressed up something different, and we went and took our picture with Santa Claus. And we did that every year through college, and we did Cowboys and Indians one year. We did superheroes. We did Jackass one year. Like we got the Santa to sit in a shopping cart. We stole a shopping cart to go take a picture with Santa Claus.
That's awesome.
We've never done that. So good.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
I know. The most we've come up with at this point was we were going to try and find the most bodacious golfing clothes, the loudest golfing.
Yeah.
And hit a high quality scene.
I kind of scared myself.
Do 9 holes at least.
I kind of scared myself because when me and the girls were up in La Pine, I found that Earl Willard wig, the blonde wig, and the sun.
You're not supposed to tell anybody Earl Willard,
Well, so I was so about the wig and the glasses that we had some shopping to do and whatever. So I just left it on with my hat on top of it, my wild rags out there blowing, and I got my cowboy wild hair and these big blue sunglasses, and I'm just like walking around the supermarket. And people, they were like afraid to look at me. I think they took me like I was taking myself seriously.
What sucks about today? Things have gotten so far out of whack with people actually taking themselves seriously.
Oh, I know.
That you can't play a joke like that anymore and have fun. I mean, like White Christmas,
like,
when Bing Crosby
would not make eye contact. They just away from me as I moved through. I was like, man,
you're lucky you didn't smell a fish.
I'm like a superstar.
if you smell, they would have incarcerated you.
It was pretty fun though.
Oh.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, but yeah, like, Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye and White Christmas, they dress up like dames, and oh my God, that's the funniest thing. Benny Hill,
Yeah.
but now there's just like,
I wore a gorilla suit with a bikini one time.
yeah.
I got a suit to do Bigfoot sightings, and we did that for a while. That was kind of fun. And then Halloween, and I thought just the gorilla suit would be boring, so I put a bikini on top of it because the gorilla suit anyway. So the bikini was correct. But nobody knew who I was in the gorilla suit. And I made people uncomfortable.
I bet.
Not close to anyone. They're like, they would not get near me.
I will tell you, I was
weird.
dressed as Bigfoot and jumped out in front of a pack of pounds.
Oh, that was a bad idea.
That's a bad idea.
Yeah. They became very enraged.
I don't advise
our
that.
One friend's dog ran and hid under the truck, though. Everybody else's dog.
We have successfully started the Bigfoot thing in Silver Lake, though. Now the Silver Lake Merc actually has Sasquatch on their clothing, and there have been a few sightings. High five that.
That's awesome.
So it took us 20 years, but we got it done.
That's a long game troll there.
We stayed in there. Finally paid off for the store.
That's a big picture move.
Right on.
Oh man, my wife, we were walking around in Walmart when we were still dating at the time, and I stopped at like the watch rack or something and like looked like I was really looking at something, and then I'd like keep looking over my shoulder, and it was like pretty loud. I was like, "Excuse me, who are you?" And like started walking off kind of fast, looking over my shoulder, and she's like, "Fuck."
Oh, yeah, Matt likes to wait until I'm in line at the grocery store and I'm trying to pay my bill or something, and they'll be like, "Oh, Rachel, we haven't seen you in so long." Matt's like, "Yeah, she had to check in with her probation officer," and they're like,
oh, the one guy, yeah. They said, yeah, her parole meeting went really awesome the other day.
That's what it was.
I do, when she's pregnant, I used to have the most fun though, because she'd like, everybody thinks pregnant ladies are a little.
He'd wait until I was humongous too, like just booger. Are you twins? Hell no!
I would rip one in
Ogre
line
belly.
there, and then when everybody's like starting to smell it, I turn her, I go, reach.
You need it. Of course, the pregnant lady party. Of course, you did. Walk off.
I got another good one at the checkout the other day too. I can't remember what it was. Damn, it was good.
You cracked the lady up in line.
Yeah, that was pretty.
I don't know. Living with Matt, you just have to have a good sense of humor. At times, I don't.
Unfortunately, our daughter has learned. It's like our only fun time is to go to town and go shopping at the grocery store. So, yeah, looking for weird products or
when we're digging around.
Yeah, that's
when we play in music. That's a fun time.
Yeah, we never go to town just to do anything other than really shop.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we are. We don't. I'm not real sure the last time I left the valley. The fuel pump or the little store down the road started pumping fuel again. So now I really don't have to leave the valley. And so I just don't. I'll gladly pay like the 30 cents extra a gallon so I don't have to go to town.
Yeah.
Just take your jar of Vaseline.
Yeah, pretty much. $7 a gallon. All right, fine. Let me stretch first.
Yeah, I love the explanation for it too. You're like, $7 a fucking gallon. It's like, geez, it just dropped. Like, well, we can't drop it because we bought this gas a long time ago when it was like $7, so we have to sell it for that.
It's $1.50 now, but this is $7 gasoline. It's older, like running out of fumes. But
we bought it back then when it was higher, so we still have to sell it for that.
So you're just gonna have to buy more of it, so we get rid of it faster, or something.
Yeah. Then you can buy the cheaper gas. Makes sense.
Now, are you in Nevada?
Yeah, I'm in Smith Valley, Nevada. We're about an hour south of Tahoe.
Oh, okay.
Ponderosa.
We used to hunt hounds outside of Tahoe. North of it, the Trinity Mountain Range.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what that one was.
Anyway.
Over towards McLeod, and then down towards Bernie a little bit.
Anyway, it's cool that Shasta and stuff. That's just amazing.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun running bears down there. So.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
we growing up, we didn't have any of that stuff. We had coyotes and antelope, and no mountains for. I grew up in Colorado, but it was the very, very southeast corner, so right in here somewhere. They say you can watch your dog run off for 3 days. And there ain't nothing to see out there, but you can see every bit of it.
Oh man.
Yeah, my grandfolks were from Julesburg.
Oh really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was about 6 hours straight south of Julesburg.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
there's not much out there, but it's kind of like all these rural towns. If it was easy to live out here, everybody would do it. But it takes like I haven't been to Eastern Oregon, but from what I understand, it's pretty tough country. And the county I grew up in, it was kind of almost dead center of the Dust Bowl, and produced some pretty hard people. But I guess with hard people come good people too. I think they're when you have to go through rough times like that, you're always a little more charitable, it seems like, or willing to help out, because I don't know, I can't even imagine going through that. The Great Depression was tough enough as it was, but then you had 10 years of just blowing dirt and no crop at all. I mean, it's a rough time.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much to say on that. My thoughts that are whirling through my mind at the moment are respect for our elders, because you really cannot speak to anything unless you've walked in people's shoes. And so many people were fighting in a war, starving out, actually giving their kids up for adoption. I mean, I can't imagine a worse pain in my heart than to realize that if I didn't give my child up for adoption, that they were going to die of starvation, because everything we owned, everything we loved was gone. And, we were really fortunate because my grandparents, they had settled in Julesburg. My grandmother was born there. And I guess apparently the Joneses had gone up into Canada and learned to dry crop. And they managed to do relatively well. But I think about my great grandmother and just she was just a little Irish woman, and she had a great personality, super funny. My grandmother was the same way, but she had 7 children, and I think 4 of them lived. You know,
Jeez.
I can't imagine losing that many children to absolute death. It's beyond adoption. And she lost them to, one passed away as an infant. One was baby Lyle, and Lyle would go out and take the clock out into the field and tell the guys to come in from the harvest. It was time to eat breakfast. And one morning he didn't wake up. It was rickets.
Huh.
And then the third one was my aunt Fern, and she was hit by a drunk driver and hit the back of her head on a curb. And she was like my grandmother's closest sister. And through all of that, my grandmother was the sweetest, kindest, most loving, funny, ingenuitive, efficient woman. Those people had some serious grit.
Oh yeah.
An example is all that I can take away, because I've never experienced that, and I praise the Lord. I just got to stand that I never will.
I'm feeling like I'm digging a ditch right now or something. Listen, you're just making me feel rough.
He's been working very hard.
You're kind of a ray of sunshine here.
I saw that on Instagram earlier. That's nice.
That's
Thanks,
just
man.
in the making there. Hezzy Garva.
Coming together pretty good, yeah.
I can't wait to see what he finishes on that. And then he finished my little, my grandmother loved buffalo. And so he said, what do you want on that? It was my Christmas present. And I said, I want one of them Charlie Russell skulls on there.
Hell yeah.
Strap. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. That's I'm still learning about the silversmithing and and the spade bits and stuff out that you see out here, out on the plains. Everybody was kind of a cowpuncher style, so it was rough out saddles, port bit, just pretty stripped down, not a whole lot of flash to it. And then I come out here, and everybody's got tooled Wade saddles and silver everywhere, and I'm like,
nonsense. Yeah. It's all a bunch of nonsense.
All over the place and jingle by. Yeah, it's quite.
What's that shiny thing over there?
There was a time I was pretty deep into it. I kind of really thought, that adornment was. It's pretty spectacular, but I don't know. I definitely enjoy making it, and I enjoy that fellas still like to use it. And
yeah,
it's always something when you see somebody that looks like they just fell out of a hitching post.
Yeah.
You're like, you got everything. They called them the steamboat captains. This fella,
I remember him.
Looking back, he wasn't a bad guy.
He was really nice. He was very nice. He was a gentleman.
He had pretty much found out later these steamboats on the Columbia River, they take off for like a week, and they go down, and then there's only 2 of them, and the crew trades off every so often and leave a card. It's quite a little crew that does this
very cool.
This steamboat stuff up and down the Columbia. But at the time, we didn't know that. We just knew he kind of retired from it, and he had a buttload of money. And I mean, this dude had Markdahl spurs and bits, and he was like riding a tip saddle, and oh my God, everything was top quality. And we'd all get on in the morning and start following, riding off, and he'd be riding the opposite direction, It's like, oh, this way. We tried to trade, wouldn't trade. We finally teased bad he looked. Yeah.
Bullies.
Oh, it was bad.
Bullying was acceptable back then.
Yeah. It's funny because it's always neat when you see somebody that's got a lot of really nice gear. But I enjoy it. I've got now where I don't overdo it. I try not to overdress if I do anything.
I can't. I don't know. I just get like. I guess I partly intentionally don't, because the cheese factor is so high that I don't get embarrassed very easily. I mean, I can do a lot of really stupid stuff, all for the sake of laughter. I don't care. Laugh at me, with me, but just laugh. I don't care. But when I see somebody all dolled up like that, it embarrasses me so much. I can't look at him because it's like the cheese factor is like there's cheese oozing out of your ear. Every arm is right now. So well, I just can't. I will ride in a ripped up pair of Levi's and my Uggs before and that's terrible. It's my thing. I'm sorry. It's so ugly of me. I'm sorry, but they shouldn't try to buy a character or buy a personage or personality. Don't buy it. Be it. Learn it. Do it. Find what works for you and make it you. You know.
Yeah. I always loved going to the Denver Stock Show and just people watching, and because I mean there would be. They looked like they were when Jim Carrey goes shopping on Dumb and Dumber and he comes out with like the fringed buckskin gloves, and I was like, "There's people wearing that shit like it's just a Tuesday at the National Western Stock Show." And
I had a realization about myself though. Funny you say that because I was like, you know, I really do like spade bits, and I really do. I think the proof's in the pudding. You see somebody that's got a nice bridled up spade bit horse, and you know they're performing.
It's actually in the bridle.
Right.
They're actually a spade bit horse.
You see some other guy, you know, just riding in some little curb bit, and he's out there doing his job. That's just as impressive to me.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty curb bits they make, but. You know, it's funny because you were talking about Walmart and whatnot, and I realized one day I was standing there and I was all just coming from doing something, and I've got on my boots and I've got on my wild rag and a vest and my cowboy hat, and I'm like, oh my God, I actually fit in at Walmart. I'm like a cartoon story. Anybody that look at that weird, he thinks he's Woody from Cartoon Story.
Oh my God. Matt made this hat one time. It was a flat brim hat, and he was just trying to do something good with it because it was such a piece of crap, and we were in between hats. We couldn't afford a new one, you know. Like he took this leather.
Oh yeah,
and he edge bound it like
it was Woody.
It was definitely to the point we were.
So you buck stitched it. That's awesome.
I'm like, babe, you can't pull that off.
Let's move on now.
So when my wife and I think it was our first summer we were dating. I was living in Kansas at the time, and I guess she was living in Colorado, just right over the line. But she would come out to Nevada in the summer because she ran the 4-H camp up at Lake Tahoe. And so I came out to visit her, and this is the first time I'd been out to Nevada. I've been to a lot of states, but I hadn't spent much time out west, you know, or like west of Colorado, anyways. And so I fly into Reno, and then we hang around there for a couple of days, and we go to San Francisco for an overnight trip. And I always. Like I wanted to go to San Francisco because there's so much cool history there, but then you always hear about how just much of a shithole it is, and it's 100% right on both parts. You know, there's so much cool stuff there, but then I saw a crackhead like taking a shit on a newspaper machine, and a dude walking an iguana in a harness down the boardwalk. An iguana. But I was walking through town with a palm leaf hat and a black T-shirt with Merle Haggard on it, and just said "The Hag." And they looked at me like I was the weirdo. The dude walking the iguana was like, "Who's this fucking yokel?"
I know it. I feel that way sometimes. I'm like, oh, Disney police are gonna come nab me. Get there, Woody.
It's Charlie Daniels. Buddy.
That's really funny though, because we were talking about, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. We were at Brandon last year, and
oh my gosh!
These two fellas show up, and everybody's kind of like,
yeah, but can I say?
I don't know.
Let me say. Okay, you know that guy that's like
Oh, the one fella, I was going to get there.
What? Who is he like?
Andy? He's on the old time cowboy movies. He talks real kind of squeaky.
Oh, yeah.
He played Friar Tuck.
Devine or something like
Devine.
that.
Andy Devine.
Something.
Okay.
This fella is just like him, though. This one.
He's in a bunch of Roy Roger movies.
Shows up. He's got one boot shotgun. He doesn't have a hat on. He's a little chubby.
He's missing a tooth.
He's wearing like a button-up, short sleeve shirt with one side of it untucked, and he jumps his mare out and leads her out with some kind of makeshift halter, and he bridles her up with a little bit, and the throat latch is it's the wire to a stereo speaker wire.
For real.
His partner's wearing slippers and some chinks, and he's got slippers. He's got on like a pair of slippers and chinks. And
oh damn, I gotta plug the battery.
He's got on like a ball cap, and he's got this horse that looks like it just come off the track. And I mean, until I see him rope, and sure as hell, these two come in and they're throwing turnovers. They're not afraid to neck anything. They're dragging shit out, backhand. I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah. They were hands. They not fucking hands. One of them name was Henry, and he cowboy jumped the sea punch, and then I can't remember the other kid's name. But yeah, they looked like they had just come from the sale barn, but they sure as hell cabs to the fire. I mean, it was fun. It was fun working with them.
That's
nicest.
Yeah, funny. Oh my God, just laugh and joke.
He sounded just like that Friar Tuck character on Disney. Andy Devine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a picture of him so you know who exactly I'm talking about. He was a heavyset guy, and that's him right there.
Andy Devine.
And something.
But I'll tell you, it was pretty funny. It was sure fun though.
He played in some John Wayne movies. It was like the guy had been reincarnated or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even spit an image of the guy and everything.
Except for he didn't have a hat.
No, hell yeah.
He didn't have a hat.
Yep, I know. I know exactly who you're talking about now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had that space between his teeth and everything. Guy, I mean, and he keeps in touch with us too. He's the coolest guy. Just absolutely adore him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys hold on just a second. I'm gonna go grab another beer and then I'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah, teleport me one.
Yeah, too bad we don't have like.
What'd you do with the brand? I explained to you it spilled. The top came off. It spilled.
Didn't spill.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell. It spilled down into your tummy.
That's a detail I left out.
I'll get it, Sherry.
Oh, it is. I'll get it.
I'm not going to tell you my hiding place.
Sure. See, there you go. God, I haven't figured it out, I guess.
All right.
So,
we're back.
I drank all my beer earlier today. Didn't plan this out correctly.
Well, I didn't either. This is my last one, so I guess I should have went to the store, but well.
Good to have a little water every once in a while, I guess.
Yeah, I hear it's good for you. That's what they say anyhow.
Yeah, I usually have it in my coffee or my beer.
Yeah, I think it's in just about everything, so I don't worry about it too much.
It's kind of like vitamins. They say you get them just by eating. So
yeah,
your water must be the same way. So
I think it has to be. It's
one time
Matt wants to drink my cough syrup. It's medicine, I swear.
Medicinal purposes only.
Huh?
Medicinal purposes only. My grandpa used to say that.
Off of it, and I spilled. And
is that really true?
Yeah.
It isn't.
Luckily, I spilled most of it in my mouth.
That's all you get because I'm keeping some of my medicine. There you go. That's it. Cheers. So we're sharing from afar.
Perfect. Cheers.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I used to get into those things. Get in trouble with them sometimes. They're so easy to drink, especially when you're riding in your coat pocket.
Yeah. Dr. McGillicuddy was my go-to. Menthol mint schnapps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's nasty.
I'd say the Blackberry Mr. Boston has been a pretty good standby for me.
Yeah.
Or apple have it, or cherry, or
I don't know, cough syrup.
Yeah.
Or NyQuil, or
yeah, I guess or NyQuil if you're way out. There's nothing else.
If you're in a real pinch, you can.
They do have some NyQuil.
I used to play in swing
skip
bands.
dinner and drink NyQuil.
This old dude that played trombone, his name was Red Baron. He went by Red Baron.
Oh, okay.
Filthy old man, and he would put vodka in his trombone slide spray.
Oh.
So there was never trombone oil in that. It was always vodka. Yeah, and he played trombone, I think, simply so that he can,
I was saying, does it end with the worst trombone player I've ever heard in my life? His slides just rusted shut.
He doesn't give a shit.
Man.
You take the solo. Okay.
Yeah, you don't dare wear a skirt around that guy, because that trombone would find itself reach clear across the room and lifting as much as possible.
Well, I'm glad he wasn't in Ulysses, Kansas when I was about 25 years old on Halloween night. I dressed up as Miss Canada. And so there was this gal that she was in the feed department at this feedlot I worked at. I was in ship and receiving. And I went to town to Walmart, and it was right, and my birthday is the day before Halloween, so Halloween's always been a big party for me. And so I go to town, and I had this idea for a costume for a while, and so I called this gal, Julia was her name, and I was in Walmart with one of my buddies, and I said, Julia, this is gonna sound really weird, but just roll with it. Just humor me. So what size would I wear in a mini skirt? And she's like, what? And I said, just roll with it. Just roll with it. It's nothing really weird, I promise. I said, it's going to sound weird. It's not that weird. And she's like, okay, so what size jeans do you wear? Blah, blah, blah. It's like that. So it turns out I wore a size 7, I think. And so I wore a jean mini skirt with
right,
yeah, old school long handles.
Oh, nice.
with my boots, orange tops, they were nice. A flannel, a mullet wig, and a Scotch cap. I had a hockey stick and then a sash that said Miss Canada.
Oh, God.
Did you have facial hair at the time?
I did. I kept the goatee.
Oh my God.
I think the best one I can recall, and I'm afraid this is somewhere archived on some old time fiddler's gonna die here soon. I say that, but it happens. And one of their kids is gonna find a tape that they made at an old time fiddlers gathering here in Silver Lake. And I think I had a goatee, pretty red at the time, pretty long. And I was pretty young, a little better shape than I was now, and drunk as shit. And my brother and I, it was had this thing called the hat song. You'd wear a hat and play a song.
Hat jam.
Yeah, so they'd wear like a sombrero and sing, ay, 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 I am the burrito, burrito. Or they'd wear a pot on their head and sing something about cooking chicken or something. My brother and I, we were kind of drunk and said, holy shit, let's do something funny. So we hauled ass home, and I go through Rachel's cupboard, and I find this dress of hers. It's an old sleeveless dress, like
genuine sacks.
Oh,
Daisy.
yeah.
And I like,
Gunny sack.
I get this thing sucked up on me. I'm like, ooh,
Chest hair boiling.
yeah. Bless. Yeah, I didn't wear a bra. I didn't wear connect.
You're just flopping all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Dug out an orange rain suit we had in the shop and a hard hat. And we went out there and played the worst version of Coal Miner's Daughter. I was born a coal miner's daughter.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they threatened to bring it out and show it to me sometime. And I've never seen it, but eventually, sure. So
yeah,
they'll have to convert it from VHS to DVD and then get it on a thumb drive or something. But.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Billy Mercury, is that his name? Freddie Mercury. I went to for Halloween a couple of years ago. Matt was grossed out. I found myself sexy.
I think the most embarrassing one I did, but probably the most. I mean, like more embarrassing than the Miss Canada. That one was just good fun. I went as Nacho Libre one year in college, and it was in my college drinking, eating shitty food days. So I was like a cool 220 at the time. I was a little hefty feller. And yeah, so I grew out the stash, and then my buddy Brad, who was born a year before me on Halloween, so and I've known him since we were like 9 or 10, something like that. He's good buddy of mine. He was really really bad lactose intolerant growing up, so like he kind of developed late, and so I think I was 21, so he didn't been 22 in college, and he was maybe $125, maybe. About my height though, but just a string bean. And he went as Esqueleto, and I went as Nacho Libre, and it was yeah, and it was of course Halloween night in Fort Collins, Colorado. It was a little chilly, and I did the tights, wore red underwear over my tights. Bare chested, and it was a cold son of a bitch that day, but it was worth it. Great, best costume I've ever done.
Honorable. Yeah.
What are your stretchy pants?
Bring me some sweats.
A few years. I tried to start something. It went for a year or two. It was called Trick or Beer. I'd go with the kids, and
it worked.
Yeah, that's the kids say trick or treat, and I'd say trick or beer, and they'd usually come on in, have a beer with me.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I should start doing that. I'd probably go over pretty well. But then nobody would be home. All the parents would just be out walking from house to house looking for a beer.
Sorry, kids, get your own candy. It's just a bucket out.
But nothing but the church elders that stay home, and everybody else is just going to the church elders' house for beer.
They only give us half.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, but I am going to tell you this. In our town, there are certain houses you don't go to because if you do, you are going to get a pamphlet that folds out and tells you exactly why you're going to hell.
Because you're trick-or-treating.
Because you're trick-or-treating.
Yeah, that's my kind of people. Baptist way back.
TP'd and stuff.
You might get a sugar cookie with, shaped like a cross. Please don't die.
That's on fire.
It was a little scary.
The pamphlets generally,
It didn't slow down my trick-or-beering, though.
It was kind of
It didn't slow it down.
It was a little script about how a trick-or-treater gets hit by a car.
It was.
Oh,
and
cool.
Hell. So, yeah, I think I might have one somewhere. Or I could just trick-or-treat there next year and get another.
There you go.
I can always do that.
I will admit, I cut my trick-or-treating early that night. After I read that, I was like, oh, shit.
So there's this guy around here that he hands out like those end of days type pamphlets where it's like he's more into conspiracy theories than I am, and I keep my tinfoil hat very close by at all times.
Yes.
Your armadillo hat.
Yeah, and this guy is a little far out there for me. So,
Yeah. So he
And-
probably truth.
I'm gonna get him on the podcast. It's gonna happen.
Be sure to text us. We want in on that.
I
one.
will. I'll make sure it's a live. Like this one didn't go live, but I'll make sure that I can go live so people can ask questions while I do it, because he
Right.
I was talking to my neighbor, and he said this guy has probably sunk most of his life savings into making like these books. They're like, like the old ring binder like pamphlets, like they're like that, and they're just at every convenience store within a couple towns of here. And he caught me outside the auto parts store the other day, and not that I didn't want to talk to him, because I'm always good for a good conspiracy theory conversation. Like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm in. Count me in.
Hear it.
But I had to haul ass back home because my little girl was, I think it was during her Christmas concert or something, but something I had to get back for. And so I was like, damn it, I've got to be rude. I gotta leave you hanging. But I'll take one of your books. I'm gonna read it and I've picked one up before, and he just, apparently that's one of those houses that you steer clear of on Halloween. Not because he does anything bad, except you're just gonna be there for hours talking about how the government is fucking you at all times, basically.
Yeah. Find this. Club.
Yeah, my dad was king of the conspiracy theory. The sad thing is that the man was right about a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing about all these like the serious conspiracy theory people. Yeah, they're more right than not. Ooh, I like I like that background there.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty crazy. No,
I have to get you more medicine tomorrow.
He's terrible.
The
problem is me.
Oh, this is gonna be it's kind of a long episode. Are you guys cool just rolling with it still, or are you got somewhere I mean if you need to go, let me know, but I'm having a good time, so I
yeah,
we're only just getting started.
Oh, perfect. Well, my wife's at Bible study, so I'm good to go for a while.
I talk to somebody over 7 years old. Or back, doesn't have fur all over his body.
Oh man, my kids are 5 and 3, and I love them to death. But man, yeah, you need some adult conversation every now and then.
Yeah. Oh my God. Sometimes it gets a little tiresome. The whys and hows and the stories and oh God. Yeah, it's cool, but it's always fun.
Oh, my little man, he is. It's honestly like just arguing with a miniature version of myself. I know why he's arguing, and it's just because he has to point out a flaw in something that you're saying. I understand it. I have that same tick myself, but I can't help it. So like I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's like, shut the fuck up, kid.
I already got this argument won. I don't have time for it.
Yeah. No, I'm not flawed. You're flawed. Damn it. Shut up. Moving on.
You.
I've been doing this a long time, god damn it.
Trust me,
Don't question me. We'll not get a candy from the store. You question me.
Smart little bastards, watch what we do. God damn, Mom.
I know it.
Figure shit out. Scary.
Yeah. We got 5 really cool daughters.
It's like there's some sort of artificial intelligence or something.
It gets worse the older they get, because then once they get to be like, they go through stages of judgment progression where they get smarter and smarter, and they start questioning what you're doing, and adolescence rocks. Just wait.
Oh, I've got two nieces that are basically like my own as well. So I'm gonna have 3 teenage girls all at the same time,
my God.
and then a teenage boy shortly behind him who's gonna have all his buddies want to come over to the house and hang out. Yeah, fuck you, kid. I know what you mean. Get out of here.
Yeah. It is pretty cool though, because like once they start their adulting phase, you know, they get up the courage to start telling you in the best way they can things that you probably should change in yourself, you know, or things that you might not be noticing. So even though it's a tough, it's a pretty cool time as well. But the adventures we had with our kids, like
it's pretty fun.
It was a pretty fun time, you know, especially when they would like, we gave him this old Toyota to drive, and because I was the kid that was privileged to have the new pickup truck in high school, right? So even though I didn't have springs on my truck, I figured out how to bounce it at a stoplight anyway. That's kind of cool. So we have this old Toyota. It's still running, by the way. And they drove it. Yeah. And one day they call home. Matt really tells a story better than I do. They were, Dad, we got a flat tire.
Oh, yeah. I think it's something else, but yep, they did. It's funny because what she's talking about is they start telling us 2 things that they did that we had no idea they were doing.
Like, you know, tying their sister to a broom and carrying her like she was venison.
All kinds of goofy stuff that they pulled.
That's awesome.
We thought you guys were
shooting each other with BB guns on purpose.
Yeah, all the things drove my parents crazy with my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
They are messing up. They'll be like telling these stories around the turkey dinner table and be like, oh my, you guys, what?
Safari hunting with guns.
Oh my God. I got away with it. And I probably would have participated anyways.
I definitely.
These kids are actually really cool. But they were rotten little shits. They did some stuff that we never had a clue they pulled.
Our girls were totally boys in girl clothing. If we had sons, they would have been criminals. There's no doubt about it.
They just grew up. They got the best of both. They got to go hunt and fish and move cows and rope and brand and night calve and all that stuff. I just didn't think anything of taking my girls. But they also played Barbies and dressed up. And the cool is they'd like to cook too, and I cook, and so they learned to cook from me and Mom and their grandma, and you know, they'd cook for me and stuff, and it was neat because they were really fun little partners. But then you get home, and then they'd be like, Mom would be away, and they'd be like they'd mother me and take care of me since Mom was gone and things. So it was kind of cool.
His shop locks from the inside out.
I had the best of both worlds.
I heard that.
When they're coming after him with frying pans.
Oh my God, that's nice. Women though. Yeah.
Hell hath no fury like 5 women.
You should have a safe zone and nobody should know where it's at.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. It's when you're just like, I'm gonna go. It's feed horses or I gotta go get fuel. But the damn store down the road just started selling fuel again, so that blew that shit out of the water. So I got nothing now.
That's why you need a hound. So when the hound runs off, you got to go find it.
Yeah, all you got to do is open the door. They run away. So
yeah,
that's pretty.
I'd say I've pretty well established my mindset on dogs. Is like, well, if they run away, fuck them. If they come back, good. If not, I hope they got shot.
That's pretty much where it evolves to eventually.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so the hound thing, I don't know if it'd pan out for me.
Oh goddamn, them things drive you nuts. They will.
We've got the oldest bastard that I don't know why we keep letting him in the house. He's one-eyed. Bear popped his eyeball out. He's a rack of bones. He's like 16 friggin' years old.
He's like the last.
On the couch the other day, ruined the couch, and he's
getting incontinent evidently, and I'm not sure if you remember.
He's getting belligerent. It's not incontinent.
He's just being a belligerent.
He's just an old bastard.
He's just like, get out of bed. I'll piss on this.
Lock in the back room. I'll piss on it. You don't think it's in your bed.
how very disgruntled he is. He's the last of the pack, though. He's got to be about 18 years old.
I know.
That's an old dog.
And he'll still hunt. He'll still breach the parameter and go.
Oh man, yeah.
Unsupervised
them
hunting.
hounds that turn up all over the place, and then somebody pick them up and take them to Klamath Falls.
Your dog's starving to death.
And then they call because they're like, your dog's standing on my counter eating my food.
Your dog is all over the leather seats of my car. What'd you pick him up for?
They find him up in the woods above the house, and then they drag him to town, and then they call you. It's like, yeah. So some of them deserve what they got.
Their name and a phone number on that tag for a reason.
Yeah, they say when you're hunting hounds, it means you're actually hunting hounds, because most of the time you're like hunting hounds. I mean, it got to the point where somebody would pick up a dog. They didn't care whose dog it was. They just called me.
They just call us.
Hey, man, we got a dog. Is this yours? I'll be like, what do you got?
I don't know if I got one of those, but I might need one.
Oh, what is it? Shit.
We had a sled dog one time.
Yeah, we did that. Wow.
That was really fun.
Yeah, we were laid up one winter, not doing much between Calvin and waiting for it to get started. And Tanner Bell was staying with us, and
he's out of Montana. A group
she
friend of ours.
got all excited about the dog sled, and so we grabbed my red dog Jeff and some collies.
We had some border collies. We had a hound. We had a Dalmatian.
She was a Dalmatian.
A coyote husky cross.
Oh shit!
She bit me every time I put her on the damn line.
Tanner and I, she had this pair of skis that she was kind of fond of. They were like Solomon's, what else? They were some.
I don't remember.
They were old skis, though. She had the boots for them and everything, but she wanted a dog sled. So Tanner and I had a 12-pack of beer. We knocked the bindings off these skis, and we took a piece of metal and hammered it up kind of to make a curve, and we made it fit the front of the skis, and we screwed them together.
It looked like one of those soapbox cars.
We screwed the plywood onto the top of the skis, and we made this makeshift handle. And we bring her out. We're like, look, you got a dog sled. It was definitely an our gang kind of a pit bull, like something. So we load up in the truck. We've got some beer left. We go up here on the road, the Snake Road, and it winds back and forth. And we figure if we drive way far enough out, get all the dogs out, hook them to the sled, and then yell at them, one of us in the back of the truck, we'll get them to follow us, and they'll run down the road and she can dog sled.
That's how we.
And it worked.
Because they all wanted in the back of the pickup. So the minute the pickup would stop, half my team would load up in the back of the truck.
All these to try to jump in.
That's awesome.
Well, and it's control, so they go around a corner, and then one of them would dive off the road, and the thing would go and slide around.
Spin a 360.
Yeah, it was pretty. And we eventually
good times.
We did get a sled eventually. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Check traps with it a little.
Yeah.
My good buddy Teed, he grew up. As the crow flies, he was about 2 miles from where I grew up. If you took the county road, it was about 6. But we used to ride our bikes back and forth or ride horses back and forth to each other's houses. And we built this motorized trike one summer. And this thing was shaping up to be a hell of a deal. We took a Huffy bicycle and we cut the back axle off. And we welded a solid axle trike, but we put 15-inch trailer tires, and rims on it. And do you have a lot of hot fence over there or electric fence?
In certain areas there is.
Farmer folk kind of.
Okay, so we got a lot of farmer folks up here. So, but you'll have like 50 miles of wire on this one roll, and so you'll fence out your section or whatever, and then when you move them, you'll just like hook a chain to the end, splice it, and then there's this particular one, it was an 11-horse Briggs attached to this wire roller. They'd just put a new motor on this wire roller, so we took the old one that still ran, but it was pretty old and wore out. And we welded some pulleys and got us a belt to fit and had a little tensioner handle on it.
Man.
Well, and we're just like, fuck yeah, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna haul ass on this little trike. And then so you didn't have a clutch or anything. You just had a little lever that you engage the belt with. Well, what we did not take into account is there was no weight at all on the front, and we had probably a good 300 pounds, with the motor and the axle and everything on the back. So you engage the pulley and it just whap, just strap you right on your back. And then it'd cartwheel about 3 times before it stopped. I think we rigged up something to hang a couple tractor weights on it so you keep the front tire down.
Yeah, we didn't kill ourselves the first time. Let's try.
Yeah, exactly. I will say we never did try to jump that over anything, but that's not because we didn't want to. It just there was no feasible way to do it because we couldn't steer the motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right.
God, I used to jump this 1968 Datsun, 2-wheel drive Datsun.
It's a sledgehammer.
Things, man. It was like brick because it was just like red, this red brick red color. Of a ride, I drilled out this little dice, like a little 1 inch by 1 inch or 1.5 inch by 1 inch dice. Put that on my shifter.
Oh fuck yeah!
Had a little spur hanging.
Speed racer with his money and everything.
That's awesome.
It wouldn't start all the time, but you could push start it, so it was little.
Yeah.
Push, didn't even care, and it didn't turn on. It didn't have a key for it, but it used oil all the time. And back then, you could still get the round oil jugs. You know, when you use a bottle opener and you just punch a hole in the oil jug. They used to have the ones that stuck down to the funnel type pipes, but
right.
So I just had a bottle can opener hanging on my left turn, right turn signal. I'd use that to keep oil in it, and I'd also use it just to start it. So you just.
I wish I'd known this before we were married.
Everybody knew. They'd steal my truck and go on a donut run. Yeah, it's kind of fun. But that little something, it would fly. It'd go about 35 miles an hour. We hit this irrigation ditch. And
like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. They steal the Corvette. Where'd you catch Aaron Redmond?
This is out in Tumalo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used to ride some cutting horses and clean some stalls, and we'd drive over this back road and go over that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fun times.
Oh, yeah. We I was in my 20s still, but it was after college. I was living in Kansas and went booze cruising with one of the buddies, and the Great Plains is the best place on earth to booze cruise because it's flat and everything is on a grid, and it's just a mile by a mile. There's every now and then you might have a weird stretch where the creek running through it or something, and you'd have like a 3-mile stretch without another county road, but everything's on a grid. It is impossible to get lost out there. And alphabet runs this way, numbers run this way. It's really easy. It's the best booze cruising country you'll ever find because you can just 35 mile an hour, and if you hit a highway, you're like, well, we've gone too far. Turn around and go back.
Go back. Let's take a left. Take a left to the left.
Fine or gravel.
Yeah. So gravel. We were booze cruising one night, and some farmer had left one of those little like Chinese pickups that got like a little 3-foot bed or something like that. Well, I guess one of his Mexican guys that worked for him left it there. That was like his commute from the county road to wherever he quit for the day on the tractor, because it was a big long it was like 2-mile rows or something like that. And so we took that Chinese pickup probably for like a 75-mile trip. I mean, like we drove the dog shit out of that thing. We ramped ditches, like almost cleared the county road going we hit this little farm road and hit the county road and almost cleared the county road. And like a couple days later, I was still thinking back on that. I was like, that was a really kind of an asshole move. Like, if we would have just destroyed his Toyota pickup or his Chinese pickup.
Oh my God, that reminds me, Matt's brother.
Oh,
I don't even know how to describe him. He kind of reminds me of Steve Carell.
Oh, okay.
Whatever what it is. He's geeky in the funniest way. And he's all business and he's all politics, he's all government until you get enough beer in him. And then he is so cheesy and he comes up with the funniest freaking shit and he's so awkward and oh my God, he's got the greatest laugh in the world. It just anybody hear Toby laugh and you'll just bust a gut. It's just it's the best. But
my favorite quote from my brother is we drive that little Toyota or Datsun, we were hauling ass to school. We're like past the bus and it's all icy on this old Klein Falls road and all of a sudden this Toyota or Datsun, I'm driving it and my brother's in the middle and had a friend and we go off the road and we're going sideways and my brother, he just goes, "Hold on, boys, we're going over."
Yeah. Story.
And that's
close enough.
So flash forward that
to the bachelor party.
We're having a bachelor party and we're out on the desert east of Bend there, and there's this little the bar Milliken. It's a ghost town now, but it was kind of a half the little joint, Club Milliken, and so that's where we ran over to go drink and have some fun. And
we hit a cow one night.
Yeah, always a good time.
It was a yearling and it hit us.
It did live.
It hit us.
Dude,
it was scary. A 50-50 kind of a hit.
I recall it being a cow, but
well, we go over and we whipped it up. We whipped it up over at Milliken drinking, and we're gonna go back to the ranch house. And
got flashed. Is that the night you got flashed in biker titties?
Probably one of them.
Yeah, them biker titties.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll stop. Go on.
No, don't stop. Let's delve into this deal.
I think that was the first set of boobs Nate had ever seen in his life. They weren't
Oregon Buckaroos.
They were not the greatest set of boobs, but I've never complained about any boobs that I've seen.
It's that old Ron White bit. Some old nasty biker lady. You want to see my tits? Yeah, I do. All right. Roll them back up. That's enough.
Anything else right now? We're here. I don't get this brilliant idea. We're driving back to the hauling ass. It's kind of a little bit of snow. And there's this you go over this kind of hump and it comes down and takes a hard right.
Just big 90.
And there's also kind of a little hard right there also, a little side road. And so we get this idea, hey, let's see if we can kill my brother. It'll be funny. Because he's following us. We're hauling ass and we're kind of racing, playing. We'll go over the hill, turn our lights out, whip onto the little side road, turn around and wait for him. And he doesn't know the road. He doesn't know he's going to fucking fly off the road. It'll be hilarious. So, and God, it worked out perfectly. We flew over the knob, we go, took the right, whipped around, turned the lights off. We sit there waiting. And here all of a sudden, the other ranch truck.
And Toby's got this is an old Ford extra cab or whatever.
1985.
Okay, yeah.
Crummy looking. It's like extra cab. He's got dudes in the back.
2-wheel drive.
Just the primo F series, the absolute most dog shit looking Ford pickups of all time.
Just a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Comes over the rise, like getting air, lands it, misses the corner, of course. You can see where he jumped off the road because there was snow. He feet landed it, fucking stuck the landing, hammers on it hardcore left, spins a cookie, pulls back onto the road, and then jump out like, what the fuck?
Wow. Toby says, we let her find out, and Toby says, hold on, boys. We're going for a ride.
That's all he said as he flew over the hill.
He's got Toby's superpowers.
It fucking spun a cookie, came right back on the road. We're like,
it's like superhuman retard strength. Toby's superpowers. Like it just like on when he's drinking, but they're awesome superpowers.
Amazing
skills.
Yeah.
Skills.
Driving skills. It's like
that's awesome.
In high school, but that's all I can really talk about.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
I shouldn't have.
And then they never did ever really get that truck to a line again, and one of the doors didn't open and close correctly.
Weird.
Yeah, how that happened. I don't know.
Yeah, piece of shit.
You buy some better shit for us to drive, it wouldn't end up like this. Cowboys, I'll tell you.
Oh, they're the worst. They're the worst.
Definitely.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know how many times it's just like, I don't know where the idea comes from either. It's like, well, wouldn't it be good if we do this? Well, shit, I'd make it one better. We'll do this plus that.
Yeah.
And then it's always like, who's the guy that's gonna blink? And nobody ever blinks. That's the bad part. Is by the time it all goes down, you're all looking at each other. We really fucking doing this? Well, I ain't gonna be the bitch here, so I guess.
Damn it! Oh shit! Yeah, exactly. Looks like we're all.
Yeah, it's just like because nobody at that point, you're too far in. Nobody's giving in. And you're just like, well, I hope I don't die.
I gotta say that is the one thing that girly girls, jealous girls, the female realm are really missing out on. That's what they don't understand about us tomboy girls. You know, we're not hanging with the guys because we want to be popular with the guys. We're not hanging with the guys because we want to be told we're cute all day long. We're hanging with the guys because they're a hell of a lot more fun than painting our nails and doing our hair and gossiping about the other girl you're jealous of. That's so tedious. I've always hung out with the guys and always had way more fun. Nearly been killed many, many times, but I have the stories to prove it. Like when we needed to, probably shouldn't tell the story, so I won't. Because who knows who's going to listen to this. But let's just say we nearly got killed by a bull. But we did live. It was a little bit stupid what we had done, but we lived. Yeah, good times. Always much funner. Much more fun.
They always seem like good ideas before you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It always seems like just the height of brilliance. Like I'm a fucking Renaissance man right now. And then you're just like, yeah. And then you're just like, well, and then this turned into a Three Stooges act. Like this was supposed to be like some Einstein shit that we had going on here.
I especially love it when people get hurt. I can't help it.
Oh, it's the best.
They're the funniest freaking things in the world. Tossing midgets and someone falling and hitting their head.
Mm-hmm.
Midgets falling and hitting their head is even funnier.
It up in 2 and 1.
I praise the good Lord for creating midgets. They were made for our entertainment.
I agree.
I wish I was a midget because I'd go to Hollywood and just taking all the money.
Raking the dough.
Take all the monies.
There's midgets all the time.
I just love it when they get all straight and they fall over, like the wing.
You bought the movie, the Midget Cowboy movie. It's freaking awesome. I don't know if you've seen it.
But I'm going to watch it.
You must.
It's good, man.
It's going in my notes right now. Midget Cowboy.
I know. We've got it.
They ride Shetland ponies.
Yeah.
There's some.
Get the fuck out of here.
They
That is awesome.
They team rope calves, and they're like wrestling calves.
They are.
I had a bit on one of my first podcasts about this. I didn't know about this movie, but
Good.
It was something, but it wasn't midget. It was midgets, but it was midgets riding Clydesdales and team roping miniature cattle.
That'd be beautiful.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
That was just one of my while I was riding pins, random thoughts.
Idea.
And it was like my new. Well, do you guys ever watch South Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate how so I'm not a super fan. But
I love that they kill Kenny every time.
Beavis and Butthead's more, like.
I like Beavis and Butthead too. Yeah. So there's an episode of South Park where they create the Crack Baby Basketball Association. And I was like, what's the new professional sport gonna be? And so then I just I'm gonna make this as ridiculous as possible. And so I went on this whole rant about it was midgets riding Clydesdales, roping miniature. I forget what the miniature cattle were, but
I had guys really didn't. They thought I was kind of sick for it, but I remember when I was a kid watching this guy, he'd bring these border collies and these sheep in, and he'd bring these monkeys dressed up like cowboys. And I've seen it since, but these monkeys would ride these border collies. And they'd herd the sheep.
That was so awesome. Yeah, they used to do that every year at the stock show. And I loved it.
Yeah. I think bring it to Redmond and sisters.
Awesome.
One time the dog run under the pickup truck and just brained one of them monkeys.
Oh my God.
He's all fucking trash, but he stayed in the saddle because he was but he made a hell of a show. Anyways, he was there when they got him. He rode in with everybody else. It worked out. But I had this idea. I thought, monkeys with chainsaws on border collies.
Oh shit! that you'd have to have people sign a waiver, but you're onto something there.
Gladamonkeys, or monkeys or something. I don't know. But
oh shit, that's awesome.
They're almost like knights with chainsaws though, and they just battle each other.
Hell yeah!
It's not like you're killing people. I mean, they're not.
Can I just get a shark with the freaking laser beam attached to his freaking head?
It's so hard. A little bit of I did meet some resistance to my monkey gladiator idea, but Fox might pick it up.
One can always dream.
Yeah. One of these days. Well,
I think with the new dog agility things, we're starting to break into it.
There you go.
Give a little more time.
A little time. Yeah. I think I'll introduce it as what's
that movie where the whole world disintegrates and Fuddruckers becomes Rudd?
Oh, Idiocracy, or just current times.
Yeah. No doubt.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
good stuff though.
Yeah. Are you guys going to the Cowboy Poetry in Elko?
Not this year.
I want to so bad because we're
actually booked the 31st to play in Lakeview. So.
Well, last year we did.
That's one night.
We got wrapped up with another group, and we didn't really get to kind of explore it and see what was going on there. And I had a group of friends that wanted to kind of go down and check it out, and it's just a fun getaway,
Yeah.
We had so much fun meeting different people last year, and
I'm hoping we can make it next year. We didn't get it planned this year though.
Yeah.
We've got the
Yeah, we have a gig. Well, it's 31st and the 1st, I think, and we've got a gig the 31st and turned another one down in the valley on the 1st. But just kind of busy.
We can't really at this time get away for too terribly long because we're still trying to repair our well.
Oh.
So yeah, the pump went down for we this is our second pump in 18 months. So it's been a long road trying to figure out what's going on and trying to get it put in. So it limits the amount of time we can really be away from the livestock and stuff.
Yeah.
Still hauling water.
Yeah, it's really a bummer. You get real creative about taking a bath in a bucket.
Gotten really fun.
Sensual sponge baths.
Woo.
Hey, don't pour that out.
Burn.
that water ain't dirty yet.
You'll see the bottom of the bucket. A little mat. She's got a little mat flavor.
We'll get through it. The Lord is good. We'll get through it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
Well, cool. This will be my first year going to it, and so I've talked with Justin Reichert a little bit. So I hope to meet up with him and a couple other people. As more than anything, I just want to go talk to some people, and there's going to be a lot of cool people there. So a lot of good people that I think to do a conversation like this with. And
oh yeah, it's a pretty good party. I know I had a lot of fun.
So much talent too.
Yeah.
It's kind of unbelievable that young people
everywhere.
too,
really everywhere.
People of all ages just coming out of the woodwork with these remarkable talents, and I think it in some ways too, like just recognizing that people are kind of creating an outreach or a support group for people that are just getting started, or don't know anyone, to help them launch their businesses or whatever. It's really cool. I really liked playing music last year. God, it was just so stinking much fun. We met just the neatest musicians and got to hear some really great original artists share their stuff, and so many characters too. What I really liked is that, kind of going back to what we were talking about, Denver and the dragon or whatever. There's finally this sort of I don't know, expansion of personality that's happening, where there's a young group of kids that are really just looking at different music genres, different styles, and anything goes,
Yeah.
There's no longer the segregation or judgment if a kid wants, someone wants to say, well, I want to try this style out or enjoy this type of music. I was really pleased to see the amount of diversity and acceptance there was for people and their ideas, but at the same time still really holding true to that cowboy aspect where you could really walk into, and like the Red Lion, oh my God, the trade show, the layouts that were there of just everything from silver to hitching and just immaculate traditional work. Definitely worth going.
Yeah.
You'll dig it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I think we're gonna go up Wednesday night and stay out through the end of it. So we're looking forward to it. I was thinking that looks like, it seems like almost your type of gig with the trade show and the music stuff there. That seemed like it's just right up y'all's alley. So
yeah, we had a blast last year, and I have to confess, I partied way too much. It was too much fun. I tend to do that.
Yeah, we had this conversation before. It's like, it's not the drinking that I have a problem with. It's like the social aspect of the drinking. It's like, because then I get to talking, and then there's another drink there. Whether I bought it or not, I don't know. I don't recall. I don't care. I just, like, I'm there to tell some stories and have some fun and laugh. And there's always a drink around. And next thing I know, I can't see.
Yeah. We had a really good time, and it would be fun though to go back and show up early and get up and see some of the other things that we kind of did last year. But
we're kind of hoping for last minute kind of folks too. That like you never know if it all falls together. We can zip over there for 48 hours or something. We might just support and show up anyway.
Yeah.
It's definitely well worth
They're
it.
Always spur of the moment. Yeah.
We never really give up hope until it's imminent that this isn't going to work. The pieces just aren't falling together. Yeah.
Well, the thing that I like is it's really still at heart based around ranch culture and folks right associated with it. And there's definitely the kind of I would say like the tourist kind of people that come and buy silver bits and that want music and stuff, and they appreciate it, maybe live it on a level for whatever. But there definitely is that core agricultural ranch family value. And everywhere you go, you run into people and shake hands, and it's just really, it's good deal. It's pretty neat.
Hell yeah. Well, I've said this I don't know how many times, but like when I started this thing, I didn't really know where I was headed with it. I just knew there wasn't much out there for the working cowboy, and that's what I am. I'm not a big loop or a big circle buckaroo type. I've been in a feedlot most of my career, but I've done it all, and we're all doing the same thing. We got different methods, it's all a little different scenery, but end of the day, you're riding a 800 to a 1,300 pound animal, trying to control anywhere from a 200 pound to a 1,500 pound animal, and it just takes a certain type of person to do that. And whether that makes us special or not, I don't know, but it makes us different.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And some of the best stories I've ever heard just come from some like just old cowboy that's just been around, and half of the story is probably bullshit, but they tell it where it makes you want to believe it. And so I think we've got some of the best people you ever meet, but with that comes like the best stories, but a lot of those stories never get heard except for 50 to 100 people that know the guy personally. And we've got this technology now where we can put it out to the world, and I think it'd do us a lot of favors when people see like what it is, that it's not all smoking Marlboros and shooting bad guys, or it's none of that for the most part. It's taking care of cows.
I agree. It's everything. The world keeps changing and rolling forward, and it's global, so no one knows local anymore. Very seldom people like in the city up here in Bend know what goes on outside of Bend, even in Redmond. Whereas I grew up in Bend and Redmond, we knew everybody. We knew folks in Prineville. We knew folks in Lapine, Silver Lake. Now you have people that live in Bend that don't ever go to Redmond. They don't even know what it looks like. And they don't know where their beef comes from. They don't know where their lumber comes from. Nothing. And I think it's good. It'd be better to see folks get more where they appreciate and understood, like we talked before, where things come from, and putting a real face with cowboys. And it's good and bad. It's really nice when they think that what the hell, Gene Autry, or the one that was Roy Rogers, Tiny White, or not, or the like you said, that fellow on the silver screen. But no, we're people just like everybody else, and it's kind of neat in a way that they start to understand, who's out there, and that's what's going to hopefully help keep our lifestyles going for our kids and grandkids.
Our daughter took a job at Wilco, and she was working in the chick section, the chicks.
Mm-hmm.
Bark, bark, bark. And they're small, they're fluffy, they're cute, and she was really shocked at at a customer one day came in and said, well, where are their mothers? And she said, well, they don't need a mother. They're hatched and they're on their own. Well, how will it get any milk?
Shit.
And Maddie's like, did you graduate high school? 5th grade. That's just like, no, see, these things don't drink milk.
Yeah.
And it really blows my mind, you know. And two, I had a great conversation with a kid in Elko last year, beast of a harp player. He's from the Midwest. He was talking about the dairies and stuff. And it's a shame how disconnected or misinformed people are about that industry. Of course, my family were dairy farmers. I worked for a dairy in high school, and I'm a huge advocate for, you know, homegrown.
Yeah.
It's like the state.
I hear nothing.
Yeah, the state of Oregon could be a kingdom if we just focused on the use and replenishment of our natural resources. And dairy farming is one of those things that it really is a necessity, and it's healthy. It's a good thing. And you know, I definitely had a very I'll just say, just easily said, greenie mom. Super mom, bless her heart, wonderful woman. So I was raised with that understanding of the far left wing, you know, sort of mentality. And I respect them. I understand what their feelings are and stuff, but it's not raised. A lot of it isn't knowledge and experience based. So there's this really great program that has come forward called the Woofers. And it's where you can take, you can sign up your farm or your ranch, and you can take inner city kids looking for a rural experience. And they will help you with all kinds of projects to learn what it's like to really, you know, to really experience. And I think it's great to take those opportunities and engage urban folks so that they start getting a real true idea of where their food comes from, what it takes to make it, you know, the processes behind it, and really have a little bit more respect. I made a film that's called Your Dollar Hamburger, My Whole Life. And Matt and I've always complained about how many people just will take a couple bites out of a McDonald's hamburger and throw it away with no regard to man, you know, that puts his life on the line to make sure that hamburger patty gets fried, served up, with pickles on the side.
I was just thinking, on a side note, I used to, because you were talking about what little people, how disconnected they are and they don't know things. And so I'd be out cowboying and riding around. You'd push these cows by somebody's camp, whatever, and they'd be out there fishing. There's a reservoir up here. They'd be like, hey, where's the good fishing at? Where do you go to fish? Like, I'd know, you know. And so I'd tell them, well, you need to go to Cabin Lake, which is up north of Fort Rock. And Cabin Lake is an alkali slick that maybe has water in it for a month in the spring. And it's about 30, 40 feet across, maybe. So I tell them, they're like, well, yeah. They said, yeah, Cabin Lake, it's up north of Fort Rock there, and there's a guard station. They're like, really? And I tell them, yeah, the state record dry mouth bass came out of there.
Dry mouth bass.
State record dry mouth bass come right out of there. And they did up, thank you. I don't know how many up there.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I used to love doing that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I went on a little bit of a rant last night for the episode I put up today, because you know, this you know, I tried to do some current events and try to make it, you know, funny, interesting, all that stuff, and there's just been nothing but impeachment. And I started, and I was like, but you know, this is also, it's a cowboy podcast, but I like to ramble about politics, and so I was like, what do I do to tie this all together? And I just like, I look at, like, if you go back to the the writings of the founders and like their thought process going into when they wrote the Declaration, when they drafted the Constitution. And and there's a lot of stuff like that gun rally down in Virginia. You know, it's really cool to see, but it's also pretty goddamn spooky at the same time when when you've got militias showing up at a state capitol, and more power to them, but at the same time you're like, it only takes one jackass to set that whole thing off.
And Boston, that's kind of what crossed my mind.
Yeah. And so that was the thing, is like, I wasn't worried about any of the protesters there standing up for their rights. I'm worried about either somebody from, the far left wanting to instigate something, or somebody from the government wanting to instigate something. And and either one of them, it's happened in the past. So it's not a crazy conspiracy theory, and that's what worried me. But luckily it all came out peaceful. But I keep thinking about, like I read some of their thoughts, and they really were ahead of their time for what they're, especially looking back then, when you could own another person just based on the color of their skin. But at the same time, you had these people who owned other people, saying, a man ought to be right to do whatever he wants to do. And, the government ought to work for the people and not the other way around. And how far we've come to now where they're wanting to impeach this guy over, basically nothing. And they're acting like it's like the crisis of our times. And, I look at, I think you commented on one of my pictures, but we got the Oregon Trail card game the other day, and I grew up playing the Oregon Trail on the computer, and it was always just a joke, you've died of dysentery, but you're like, well, that was a real thing though. I think of, for every like 10 wagons that set out, like one made it. But they were all looking for that Willamette Valley to, it was like the new Garden of Eden. And it's always been that type of people. They're just like, well, shit, that mountain range sucked, but we'll keep on till the next one, and we'll see what's over the top of that one. And, it just, it took a different type of people to settle the West, and, and just settle this country in general. And I think folks like us that are, still hanging to those old traditions are about about all that's left. You see some people that, there might be a different avenue of doing it. You look at Elon Musk; that guy's just doing insane things. He's a pioneer in his own right. But it's like that type of mentality is like there's always something better. We just got to go find it. And I see less and less people with that mindset anymore, and I think that's a shame. And so anytime my kids talk about, like, well, can we do this? And I don't know. You can dang sure try though. Might as well give it a shot, and you never know. And
right,
it's just you had to be kind of a dreamer but a doer at the same time, and because that. You can't will your dream into existence. You got to go try. And
nation.
But that all comes back to with all that liberty, you have to have responsibility. And if without the responsibility, the liberty doesn't mean anything. And that's a part that I think has really got lost over the last several decades, probably. But is the responsibility part? It's all. No, we'll pay our taxes, and then the government will take care of it. Well, it's worked out real well for us, hasn't it?
Well, one trend. There's a couple trends that I'm noticing that humanity in general is seeking that utopia. We are. We fear death, and we want everybody to be happy, everyone to be taken care of. We want heaven on earth. That's just a humanistic thing. To be severed from the body doesn't make sense, and so we try to make the best of our lives. And in doing so, One thing that I've really been discussing with people lately is technology outsourcing humanity. So the more technology we have, and the easier and more automated life becomes, you strip the person of individualism in such a way that they aren't putting their hands in the earth anymore. They're not growing their own food.
Yep.
Not getting cut and seeing their own blood. They're not sweating. Their back doesn't hurt. They're not able to say, these are the tools of my trade. And by human law, people want to be something. They want to be identified as something. And going back to my original talk, what I was sharing about Rome, is one of the great reasons Rome fell is because they took people's individuality away. They took their cultures away. They their hobbies and their trades away, and said, you're going to be part of this government. You're going to do it our way. And this is what's going to happen. Moved everybody into the cities. And what happened when Rome fell? Everybody moved back out. They went back into rural areas. They stabilized these little colonies. They went back to, depending on livestock and agriculture to be healthy. And we're finding that our food is so commercialized, it's polluted. Over probably 80% of the food we eat is polluted. So why are cancer rates so high? I mean, when you really get to the core of things and you start making sense of it, it all goes back to the simplistic texts that you have to earn to receive. You have to do to receive. You have to put something of value in to get something of value out. And I think that when you put a lot of people into a melting pot that don't understand the foundations of why it was so important to colonize and found this land, they don't understand those policies. You don't see the people coming together with a united mutual understanding of what we serve anymore. When World War II happened, people of all races and all cultures came together to protect America because they came from a country that was oppressing them in some way, that was not good. And they understood and valued what America had to give. And now people seeing that same kind of oppression come to America, but then it's like, well, how much can I get for free? How little do I have to work to gain as much as I can? It's a sad state of affairs. I personally, I have a great plan. My plan is if we could actually see Mexico as an ally, our North American continent could be so incredibly stable. We could help so many people. All of our agricultural surplus we could share, hospitality we could share, but it would take going in there and teaching those people to stand up for themselves against some pretty nasty drugs. And that goes back into the whole conspiracy theory of, were Kennedys actually flying drugs when they crashed their plane? Maybe they were. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Money, there's just so much money in it. There's just so much corruption. Where do you put an end to it? But a friend of mine had something very, very simply stated, that we as people all want the same things. It's just that sometimes we're coming at it from different angles. If we were to be standing in front of each other saying, okay, well, because you don't want to do it the way I want to do it, I'm going to kill you. Would we actually kill each other? There's some people that would. Yes, that's true. But I think the majority of us would rather have stable families and know our children are safe than ever go into combat into another civil war over it.
Yeah. I think one of the big missed opportunities of our time was when protests there in at the Malheur Refuge, if you could have had leaders from like the Black Lives Matter people unite with the Bundys and the Hammond protesters, because they're all protesting the same thing. It's just overreach from the government. And for the Black community, it's the local police force, where the Hammonds and the Bundys, it's the BLM. It's all the same thing. It's a government authority. And if they could have just got on the same side right there, because they're on the same side anyways. They're just who wants to yell the loudest and who wants to be get the credit for it was a lot of it, what it seemed like. But that would have been a huge moment for the country when you get inner city Black people and rural hick ass white folks like us and saying like enough is enough. Just let us be. That would have been a huge moment. But of course, politics gets in the way, and you can't support this guy because of this, and they can't support you because of that. And what's up, buddy? You want to say hi?
Yeah. What a big man!
It's Mr. Gus.
Hi, Gus. Are you sleepy, boy?
You got your jammies?
Yeah. Nice. Cool if we focus on our mutual grievances and see that they're more similar than they are different, and band together, because I agonize over some of the stuff I see about what's happening with the urban Black folks back east. The terror they must live in. We actually had a Black gentleman come and stay in our teepee camp, and we he just came in. We ate meals together. We took him to a gig that we played together, and he finally came out and mentioned how it was amazing. It was almost like God brought him here for us to have a better understanding of what those urban people, the inner city people, are dealing with. Not only their famines and such, but we sat down and we talked about how frightening it is, even in this day and age, for him to travel abroad as a Black man, because he never really knows what he's going to encounter. And I assure him, we take you out to Christmas Valley, man, everyone's going to want to shake your hand. They're going to be so excited that someone new and culturally has come to share in our cowboy party. It was a straight up cowboy party. I mean, every buckaroo far and wide had come to celebrate this guy's birthday party, and he had so much fun, and I just felt like he was part of the family when he left, and yet at the same time was so completely emotionally invested in his safety after that I never think about, other than being a woman at times in a dark alley, that, oh, maybe I shouldn't go there. And he was absolutely right. Like, I'd never thought about that. And he goes, well, as a white person, you probably don't. And now that we're seeing, some of the sex trafficking and things like that, my sister was actually attacked in Sacramento. She was beaten up really badly. They were trying to abduct her, take her belongings, and she was hospitalized for a while. And so I know how real that is. She looks like Sandra Bullock. She's an absolute dame. But up until these recent acts have really gone over the top. I'd never considered that, those people would ever feel that kind of terror. And they do that for real. I mean, they're poor children being shot, and the gang issues that are happening. And it just breaks my heart. So
I was surprised that he was concerned, because I mean, I know if I go in the wrong part of town, but I mean, it really doesn't matter what color the danger is to me. I mean, it comes from all sorts of colors, and so I don't think that way.
right back.
But it was interesting visiting with him that he actually did feel concerned because he was a Black guy, and it was like, well, all the folks. I mean, we may joke about Black guys, but I mean, shit, we joke about each other most of the time, and hell, how dumb somebody is or stupid they did, or we just. So I mean, I don't really and to me, you know, I've worked around black fellas and Indian fellas and Mexican fellas, and you know, the only thing that mattered was whether or not they could cover their horse, and you know,
yeah, a hand's a hand.
yeah, rope some hind feet for me and save my ass. You know?
Yeah, that's about what it matters. You know, it's
Yeah, so it was really surprising to me to, and so I guess a lot of the people of ethnicity that I've met have been cowboy types. So maybe they,
Charlie Bird whistle.
you know, they you know, sometimes Indians can kind of clan up a little, but hey, anyway, but you know, I mean, most of the time,
I guess we all can. We all clan up when we feel threatened.
I was surprised I felt that way. I thought, gosh, you know, that'd really be weird to think about stopping at a gas station and worrying just because I'm black. And I never really put that much thought into it. And thought that's pretty tough, and that's pretty shitty that the rest of the world feels that way.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way.
That a lot of
and then it's you know, and of course the stuff gets blown way out of proportion. You know, the media will push it because that's you know, it drives ratings and whatever. But you know, I like some of the coolest people I've ever met are, you know, like I've got a good buddy, grew up in like Detroit, lived in San Jose, LA, just, you know, in the ghetto. Just, you know, he's just a really, really cool dude. Call him Dub because his last name's Williams, and they call him Dub because of that. And you know, he's like we rip each other all the time, you know, just black jokes, Mexican jokes, white jokes floating around. And you know, but I love that guy. And you know, like I still to the day I think the funniest group of people are old Mexican dudes. Like I don't know what it is about them. They are the funniest people on earth.
Yeah.
And especially if they can just kind of speak English, they can like just get their point across. Those are the funniest ones because they have the funniest jokes, but it's the way they have to get it out in broken English. It makes it so much funnier. And and I just, you know, I have a, you know, I appreciate good people. I don't care, you know, where they come from, you know, what the background is. I appreciate good people. And I don't know. I wish more people thought along those same lines, but you know, I guess it is what it is. You know, we try to do what we can, but you know, I try to teach my kids, you know, look at the person, not their skin. Who gives a shit about their skin? You know, what kind of person are they? And
Yeah.
you know, it sounds, you know, like some, oh, I don't know. It's like you're looking for brownie points, but I think that's how you ought to how people ought to go about life. And you know, I don't know. I gravitate towards the cowboy type people because they're, you know, they're hard, tough people, but at the same time, they're some of the most generous people you'll ever meet. You know, I've known several types of people that just really gruff, but you know, when you're in a bind, you know, they'll give you anything. You know, just like here, pay me back when you can, whatever. And
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. There's just something about that type of people, and you see them everywhere. But I think you see it a lot more in our type of community. You know, and I think it comes from how you grow up, how you have to deal with life. I don't know, you know, what the secret combination is, but there's something about living in a hard place that makes good people. It seems like.
Well, I think one element to that is learning to stand on your own 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to a friend today about gossip, and I said, you know, nobody gossips to me because I straight up just tell them, I don't know that person. I have nothing to say on that.
Yeah.
And well, didn't you hear about that? I mean, that happened like 8 months ago. And I'm like, no, because nobody talks to me. And I think when it comes to the race issues or just the basic treatment of other human beings, the more of us that stand shoulder to shoulder on our own 2 feet with the conviction that this is right and this is wrong in the way that you treat a brother, we'll find that united front becomes, it is the silent majority. It becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And yeah, personal conviction. I mean, there are things in the rural life that you are faced with, whether you want it or not. Walking outside to catch your horse and he's twisted up in a colic and he's not through it. And people shout, no guns, no guns. Well, when my horse is sweating through Banamine, he's my best freaking friend. And he's in so much pain and the vet cannot get here, straight up cannot get here. That conviction that I will not let my friend suffer an hour longer. We've gone through 8 hours. We've tubed him 3 times and he's dying. He's backed up. He's dying. What is the best thing we can do?
You put him down.
We can choose to put him down.
Yep.
Done humanely, quickly. And some people would call that assisted suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, if he had a hand, he'd have done it himself long before 8 hours.
Yeah.
And you know, the convictions that we gain, they become the people we are. We end up standing on those 2 feet. And that's something that I really learned from Matt because, you know, coming from this big tug of war in my own family where there was, you know, this very, very liberal side versus this very, very conservative side on my dad's part, and the constant strife in that family, indecisiveness, you know, my family just really, when we lost our farm, everything kind of just went haywire. It really did. Had nothing but spending money in town. That was our entertainment. That was our life. We became spoiled. We didn't have a respect for the things that we owned. We just valued money. And when I met Matt, he took me back to my roots. And, you know, we lived in a cabin with no electricity or no water. We had to hunt for our food because our wages weren't enough to feed our kids. We had become displaced. We couldn't just go back into the city and fit in again and find jobs again. It didn't work. And I am so grateful to the good Lord. I am so grateful for meeting this man and bringing me back to what is truth. You know, we see the Hunger Games, we see all these different, you know, publications coming out where people, it's like they're desiring the battle, they're desiring the hunt. What's that new video game where you run around on a horse and you shoot your own food? It's super popular. Redemption. Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's into that stuff right now. Well, why are they into it? Because they really, at the core of people, we want wind in our face. We want to feel the rain on our back. You know, we want our hands in the soil, our feet absorbing the energy off the ground. We want to be part of the earth. And we've been so removed from it that people think it's a horrible thing to raise an animal, thank it for its life, and then nourish your family with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, really crazy. Like I've tried to stress that a bunch on this. It's just, it's a natural way of living, but it seems so foreign to a lot of people, taking care of an animal, raising a crop, whatever the case may be. Yeah. But you're almost 100% dependent on nature. And, you know, if the rain don't come, well, like you're shit out of luck. I mean, you can put a Band-Aid here and there, but at the end of the day, if it don't rain, you don't got any grass, and your cows are gonna, you sell them or they die. I mean, that's it. And so it's just, you know, and I can't speak to the city life a whole lot because I've been pretty removed from that. So I know there's struggles they face the same. It just, I don't know, somehow trying to get that to cross over. And
I think that's the trouble, is that there's so many people now living in the cities compared to people that actually exist, you know, in a realm of even just having their own garden.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do think that I heard somewhere it was like the cowboy culture. There's really like 2% of the population in America. I mean, it's really small.
Yeah.
People work around ranches and cattle and feedlots and just, you know, in that realm. And then you got your your farmers that really produce, and you got corporate farms, but then you've got workers, and I think that's what gives, in all honesty, the migrant force that's moving in, the Mexican force especially, their unity, their strength, their pride, and
it's admirable.
They're because it really is. I don't want to start sounding all blowing the cowboy horn and all that stuff again, but working with animals, like you said, it's not starting a four-wheeler or a tractor, or it's you're working with an animal, and then working with other animals, and then, like you said, the weather, the grass, the water. Whether there could be all the grass in the world, but if there's no water for them to drink, they can only walk so far.
Yeah.
And there's just all realms, all spectrums of it, and then it does carry even over to the farmers. I mean, a lot of them still are dependent on the rain and the lack of rain so they can get their crop put up. And just think I just had a long time ago, I just kind of got a mindset that when you're closer to the dirt, you're closer to the heavens. Actually, I mean, every culture that is closer to the dirt, living near it, sleeping, getting their food from it, they're closer to the higher power. They just tend to be put in their place.
And the chaos settles. The chaos comes down, and they realize that just working for the necessities of everyday life.
I think people that live in a business trade realm, they're not associated to the weather so much. They're not associated to life and death and, being out in it. And so I think it's easy for them to forget how small they are in the scheme of things. At times, and lack of appreciation for things tends to that. So it does sound kind of all high and mighty, but people that are associated to the agriculture side of life tend to be just more down to earth.
More willing to give what they have, because they know how much it took to make it.
Yeah. And how fast it could it's gone. That's the thing. I mean, one bad year and it's all over. You're packing up and hoping you find a job in the city. It's stuff that it's here and then gone. It's so you learn to just enjoy it, I guess. Live like it's there isn't a tomorrow. You just do what you can today. You plan for it, but you do what you can today. And I don't know, that's just, it's a long distance between Eastern Colorado and Oregon, but it feels like I've kind of had a feeling that you guys were good folks since I come across you on the internet, and it just I think we have a lot of the same mindset, and it's good to see people that think along the same lines, and I enjoy that.
I think there are a lot of them out there, and the trouble is that most of them, the people that I know that are still out there ranching, farming, they don't run around and throw their opinions out there. They tend to keep them to themselves and don't tend to want to go to town. And so I do feel there's a silent majority out there still, and people that are associated with those people and get to know them and through things like this. And I'm hoping the pendulum swings back and there's more people that get their hands dirty.
Yeah. So. I think we're getting there. You see a lot of the farm to table movement, and people want to know where their food come from, how it was raised, and they can get a little overbearing, but they got a valid point. They want to know how that animal was taken care of, and and the vast majority of them are taken care of right. We all know people that raise these creatures, and they, for the most part, they all love what they do. They care about what they do. There's some people that they're a little misguided, and then there's some people that are just downright mean, rotten, ugly people. But you have that everywhere. But they're very few and far between. I mean, your average everyday puncher, buckaroo, rancher, they're just trying to raise some cows. That's it. And,
Most of us like to live out away from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important that people don't move on emotion, but move on education. Truly seek sides of the story and see what's going on. And I want to say this before I lose the chance, that I had mentioned before that there's a feminist side to me, and a true feminist is a woman that sees what she is and what she can do. She builds on that and she does good with it. She's not someone that seeks to demasculinize the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one thing that we've really lost, that the agricultural rural families continue to have, is the placement of the sexes.
Mm-hmm.
We have an understanding, and it's something I had to pray about a lot, that my husband would be blessed with leadership in our family, because we all have our strong suits. I'm his helpmeet. And because of that structure, which his parents really displayed for me, why did his parents have successes? Why is it that things always just seem to fall together as they should? Well, because there's an order to everything. Nature displays that order, makes it very clear how the processes work. And if when you look into Jewish women, you'll find that those women are some of the most empowered women of all the races, that they truly understand their position in the family and are given quite a lot of responsibility and have quite a few expectations, and those duties they take in pride. And I think that there's a shift in the mindset of our population, where people are kind of waving flags because they want to stand for something, but they're not doing the research. They're not really looking into what is making them feel a certain way. Why are rural families so great? Why is the hospitality there? Why is the love and acceptance there? Why does it seem as if those families have it all put together? It's because they're following the simple principles of nature. They're not trying to dominate one another in their sexes or in their roles. They're just being all they can be in who they are. There's something very powerful in that. You don't have to take something from someone else at all.
Yeah, and neighboring is a big thing, especially here out west, and I think just any rural community in general. But it all comes back before we had this big social safety net. You had your family, you had your church, you had your neighbors, and you all pitched in to help when somebody was in a bind. And it just, that's how it was. It was expected. Times are tough, but it's way tougher for these folks over here. So let's pitch in, make them some bread, whatever you can, help them out. And you still see that in communities, and I'm sure you see it in the inner city too. And I can't speak to that because I don't know it, but I know it out here, and it's very, very prevalent. Where I live now and back home, they're both very, very small towns, but with very tight knit communities, and at the drop of the hat, you got some help right there. And but you also know that if you don't help this guy, he's probably not going to help you when times go rough for you. And it's a give and take, and so you have to be a good neighbor in order to get that good neighbor back. And it's I don't know, I think it all goes back to responsibility, and you have to not just responsible for yourself, but you have to be responsible for how the community goes too. And so there's it's selfishness and selflessness at the same time. You gotta look out for your own, but your own might not just be under your roof. There's times where you got to branch out a little bit, I guess. And I don't know, I like I said, I enjoy conversations like this. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we'd probably disagree on, but I just enjoy good conversation, and I like meeting pretty like-minded folks. And Yeah, it's been a lot of fun tonight. I appreciate you guys coming on.
Looked at the clock. I was like, son of a bitch.
I know it. I know it. Oh.
Wait, holy.
Oh, don't let him fool you. He'd just be laying in bed watching Tremors.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. I got a Tremors started. I'm like, yeah.
It's just snack time.
Yeah.
He's normally napping, now he's up
like
raiding the
10
cupboards.
Tremors, like I'm number 4 or something.
Oh, well, I appreciate y'all coming on. Where can everybody find you on the social media so they can follow along on your hijinks?
Yeah. Well, we're working on Ranch Factor Television. That's on YouTube. I'm terrible about putting most of our videos on my personal Facebook page, which is just Rachel Ann Wilson. And without but yeah, and then Matt's Instagram, Wampus Cat Sound.
That's cool.
Yeah, we've got some other links and this and that floating around, but those are kind of our major focuses right now.
Back to Ranch Factor.
We need some Tannerite before we can get back to Ranch Factor.
Perfect.
We have a plan.
All right. Well, let me know when you got something coming. I'll share it on the page and
something battle-esque.
Plan.
Hell yeah.
It's good fun. Everything we do is for a laugh. You know, we accept and love people of all sorts, walks of life. Bottom line is, that good book was written for a reason, and we believe in a higher power that expects us to do right by people. So as long as they're not doing wrong by us.
I kind of was thinking more like Benny Hill.
What's that?
Benny Hill, he's the best. That's what we should put our YouTube television in that mindset.
Interesting but stupid.
All right. Well, Matt, do you guys remember my sign off at all?
Oh shit! What was it again?
Burning daylight.
Nope. It's burning daylight, right?
Yeah. So move your ass. We're burning daylight.
We're burning daylight.
Yeah, burning daylight. So thanks for having that.
You bet. Mm-hmm. We'll do it again. I appreciate you. It was a lot of fun. So take care, and we'll catch up with you next time.
All right. Okay. See you on the trail.
All right. See ya.